Next, I'd like to introduce Michael Moffat. A New Hampshire native, Michael did undergraduate work at University of New Hampshire and graduate work at Plymouth State University and the University of San Diego. He taught history and management courses from high school through university levels. Commissioned as second lieutenant in the Marine Corps Reserve in 1982, Moffat served on active duty with the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines from 1983 to 85. And I learned after reading that book that you take out the words battalion and Marines and you just say the 3-5. And that's true. I'd never heard that term until I read the book. So it makes it nice and short, sweet, simple. In 1990, Captain Moffat was named commanding officer for what became A Company of the 1st Battalion, 25th Marines. That'd be the 125, right? He led his unit to the Persian Gulf, where it attached to the 1st Marine Division for Operation Desert Storm. Returning to active duty after the 9/11 attacks, he served with General Tommy Franks on operations staff at Central Command for Enduring Freedom from 2001 to 2. Lieutenant Colonel Moffat served as director of the Marine Corps Prep School, MSEP, from 2003 to 2008. Colonel Moffat co-authored a monograph on the history of the Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center, and in 2010 served as a field historian in Afghanistan. This is where he met Fahim. Retiring from the Marine Corps in 2011, Professor Moffat returned to Concord, New Hampshire, where he teaches now at the University of New Hampshire Technical Institute. Professor Moffat.
Thanks, Mike, and thank all of you for being here. Some of you have come short distances, some of you have come long distances. I came 4,200 miles from New Hampshire via Seattle, via South Dakota. And I saw Kimberly Martin. Was Kimberly?
I'm over here.
Kimberly's here. We did a radio show with her. And in Rapid City, South Dakota, because of this press that we get back east, WGBH in Boston wanted to do a show. So I called them from Rapid City. Fahim called from Dana Point to Boston and South Dakota. Then we did a show in midday Dakota. Not quite Oprah, but that's what we're trying to do is raise awareness like tonight about the project. So I just want to say a few words and then do a little reading from the book, and then I'll let Michael introduce Fahim, who you all really want to hear from. Special day, May 30th. It's Fahim's birthday. Yes, it's my birthday too. Great excuse to come together. But far more importantly, May 30th is a traditional Memorial Day. Going back to when I was a kid, it was always a day off and it was a holiday. And now it's a long weekend. And I understand all that, but in New Hampshire, for many years, they kept May 30th is the Memorial Day. And so if you know a little bit about New Hampshire has a libertarian strain. You don't have to wear seatbelts. You can talk on your cell phone while you drive. There's no sales tax. There's no income tax. We only pay our legislators $100 a year. But they kept May 30th, the traditional Memorial Day, for many years subsequent to that. And I want to build on that a little bit because I take Memorial Day very seriously, and that's why concurrently, we're trying to raise a few dollars and raise some awareness about, wounded warriors. We've already directed about $5,000 to the MCLEF, Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation. What the MCLEF does is they pay for the education of the kids, the youngsters, the children of Marines who were killed in combat. And so what they do is they try to recognize and help the kids of heroes. And speaking of heroes, Fahim speaks, our story is a story of somebody who I think is a heroic figure. And he's an improbable American hero, an immigrant refugee who loves America and to put a uniform on to serve his country. So Anyway, if I could, I'd like to ask Dr. Beth Boardman, a newly minted PhD, just to say a few words about the hero's journey. Beth, if you wouldn't mind, real quick, to explain the hero's journey.
Thank you. Well, I was so excited when I read Fahim's book because I've just finished 7 years of intensive study of world mythologies and the traditions of Joseph Campbell, who was a very famous mythologist and who came up with the idea of the hero's journey through his study of world mythology. And what the hero's journey is, it starts out with a call to adventure, which Fahim had the first time he saw a movie. He knew he wanted to be an actor, and also he had the call to adventure when his father rapped on the door and said, "Pack up, we're going to America or Pakistan or wherever we can get to away from here." So he had the call to adventure. The next part of the hero's journey is you have unexpected helpers along the way, angels along the way. He had a wonderful guide across the mountains into Pakistan. You have unexpected challenges, demons along the way. He was beaten in Pakistan and met a lot of resistance here in Hollywood when he was trying to earn his SAG card. These are just, I'm just simplifying the journey. But he persevered and worked through all of those challenges, and he attained his treasure, his holy grail, got his SAG card, became an actor. He achieved his dream, and a lot of people think that's where the story arc ends. You get your treasure, happy ending, yay. But the real ending to the hero's journey is when you return to your community with your boon, with your gift. And this is what we don't see so often in storytelling, in Hollywood right now or in books. And it's the most important part of the hero's journey, according to Joseph Campbell. So you bring your gift back to your community, and he did that in 2 ways, as far as I can see it. He wanted to serve his newly adopted country of the United States by helping the Marines with interpretation, so that was bringing his gift back to this community. And then he also ended up back in his birth country, where he helped become a peacemaker. He helped promote peace in his birth country through his talented interpretation. So he gave back both to his birth country and his adopted country. And that's what really moved me so much about this story, was bringing it all back to returning the gift to your community. So that's the hero's journey, and I salute Fahim. Thank you.
And thank you, Beth. Okay, before I turn it over to Michael to introduce Fahim, I do want to take a couple minutes and just read a part of the preface, which explains how I met Fahim, and I'll do that right now. Okay, in March of 2010, I traveled to Delaram. I was in Afghanistan, as Michael mentioned, as a field historian. I traveled to Delaram, where Helmand, Farah, and Nimroz provinces converged. This crossroads town was strategically important, and the 3rd Battalion of the 4th Marine Regiment, 3-4, had been conducting combat and civil affairs operations there since the previous October to great effect. District Governor Asadullah Hakdost recognized 3-4 for its work by presenting an award to its commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Martin Wetterauer, at a special ceremony at battalion headquarters, and I attended to take some photos and do some interviews. And I saw a long-haired, bearded interpreter in American uniform capably translating before, during, and following the ceremony. And afterwards, everyone headed towards a humble table in the battalion conference room for a banquet of sorts honoring the district governor. And a 3-4 staff officer pointed to the interpreter, standing in line with a paper plate to get some chow. And he mentioned that this guy was born in Afghanistan, but had made his way to America to become a Hollywood actor. Now, Hollywood actor could mean almost anything, but the term held some cachet with me. Wasn't that a glamorous profession? What roles had he played? And why was he now in dangerous Delaram? So the bearded interpreter posed for a photo with another visiting officer and then sat down across the table from me. His eyes sparkled and he laughed easily. Everyone in the room seemed to be his brother. Afghans, Americans, Marines, civilians. And I picked up on his charisma and I asked him if he'd like to do an interview, record his story with the other stories I was recording for Marine Corps History Division. "Of course," he said. And this interpreter and actor showed no reticence about going on the record to talk about his experiences. He was an actor, after all. So we sat down later on an outside bench, and he talked about his life's journey. What Beth explained, we come to find out, was a hero's journey. Born and raised in Kabul, he fought the communists who took over his country in 1978. He made a harrowing escape to a refugee camp in Pakistan. Approved for asylum in the U.S., he reunited with the rest of his family, moved to Southern California, where he learned English and pursued his dream of acting. For 15 years he worked as an extra until he finally got his Screen Actors Guild card. And then, despite subsequent success as an actor, he decided to put on a uniform and be certified as an interpreter who knew the Afghan languages of Dari and Pashto. And he asked for the most dangerous assignment in Afghanistan, serving as an interpreter or translator with the Marine Corps Infantry Battalion in volatile Helmand Province. He was so effective as an interpreter, bringing together Americans and Afghans, military and civilians, that the Taliban, he earned the special enmity of the Taliban, who put a price on his head, offering a reward to whoever could kill him. As he patiently listened to my litany of questions, I realized that he epitomized what so many Americans yearned to see. An immigrant refugee from an Islamic culture, unafraid to express a deep love for his country, his adopted homeland, and a commitment to his new country. So throughout American history, countless people have put themselves in harm's way to defend a country that didn't always treat them as equal citizens under the law. And some of that's in the book. Here was another contemporary example of such a person. He bravely joined a fight that required him to wear his new country's uniform in a cause that put him in conflict with some kinsmen from his old tribes back in his native land. This naturalized citizen left his family, community, and acting career at the age of 43 to risk his life, to risk everything, while serving with a new adopted tribe, the United States Marines. Who was this man? His name was Fahim Fazli. This is his story, and that is the end of the preface. And so before I turn this over to Mike, the hero's journey, it's more than just a hero's journey. It's an adventure story, it's a love story, it's a war story, it's a Hollywood story, it's Fahim's story. And Mike, I'll let you introduce the guy we're here to see and listen to.